2022. Let's begin with a moment of silence, followed by a prayer from Commissioner Pastor Dickerson.
Our Father, we thank you for this time and the season, and we thank you for this meeting. Thank you for the leadership of the Brunswick Housing Authority and all the staff and our residents. This great community of Brunswick, Georgia. Lord, I pray that we come to accomplish what we need to do today. Love, unity, healing. And God, we pray for the revenues, the resources, and the results to help the less fortunate, those that experience poverty, to help them to experience a life that they can always and have probably always dreamed of. And we thank you for this prayer. Answer this prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I will entertain a motion to accept and or adopt the agenda.
I make motion that we accept the agenda.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to accept and adopt the agenda, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion?
Oh, yes. Well, is that to add the
This is
amendment?
where you would make the
Okay,
amendment.
I'd like to amend the agenda to add questions from the oral presentation we got from the staff last month. I have some questions for the write-outs that were sent to us in emails.
We have a motion to amend the agenda to include questions about the oral reports from last meeting. Do we have a second?
A second.
Motion by Madam Vice Chair Bailey to amend the agenda to include questions about the oral reports, seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Any further discussion? We will add that under Commissioners' items.
Okay.
All those in favor of the amendment to the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Now moving on to the motion for the complete agenda. Is there any further discussion on the complete agenda? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, have the same.
We'll do today. It's fine.
That motion passes unanimously. We will now move on to the KPAC report from Officer Wright.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'll be reading the monthly report for the month of September. Starting with Abbott Andrews, we had 17 calls, 2 reports, damage to property and an assault. Brooklyn Annex, 1 call, no reports. Brooklyn North, 22 calls, 1 theft report. Brooklyn Home South, 12 calls, 5 reports. Juvenile problem person, suspicious, a runaway juvenile, and an assault. Mercer Alabama, 11 calls, 1 report, which was an assault. McIntyre Court, 78 calls, 12 reports, 2 runaway juveniles, 2 trespassing, 3 damage to properties, a problem person, lost property, 2 assaults in civil matter. Glenville is 35 calls, 4 reports, 2 assaults, domestic, a sex offense. Hopkins Home Annex was 1 call, no reports. Hopkins Homes was 17 calls, 6 reports, 2 problem with persons, 2 juvenile problems, and assault and depriving owner. I have any questions?
That was a lot of calls from McIntyre Court.
They always
That's
that
very
high.
low.
They always that high last month.
I think that's normal.
Matter of fact, it was the same number last month. Wasn't the number the same
Yes.
last month? Yes.
You've been pretty busy.
This is actually the only month I had an assault in every community.
Mhm.
Those 78 calls was in 1 month?
Yes, just the month of September.
It was like that in August.
Mhm.
Wow.
Is that Abbott Andrews? Are we,
Next to West Reynolds.
yes,
Yes.
are we, I understand there's a lot of activity from one of those, from that location, moving around and into potentially McIntyre Court, Whisper Notes. Are we monitoring that?
I wasn't aware of that, but
Okay,
I can.
we'll speak more about it later.
Okay.
Chairman, we
Yes.
need to acknowledge and congratulate corporate Wright for her promotion.
Thank you.
That is-
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
You beat me to it, it was literally the next thing.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, well, we can still get to it. You have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Corporate.
Yes, sir.
Correct, thank you.
Corporate.
Any other conversation or discussions on the K-PAC report? Moving on, we don't have any delegations for today, so we are moving on to old business, the repayment agreement. Thank you. Anyone have anything on the repayment agreement?
Explain what you mean.
I know there was some discussion on a repayment agreement for our residents for debts owed to the housing authority, and I believe that was being worked on by staff. So it may or may not be relevant at this point.
I don't think it is at this point, because I think you've also had a shift in staff in that area. And Ms. Ogden, who is going to be the Director of Housing, is away at a training right now. And I mean, the only reason I'm mentioning that is because she did send an email with a lot of questions about repayment agreements and, you know, comparing them to how they used to be here. And so I know she's thinking about it, but with everything between the departments, with the transfers and people, I don't think anything is happening.
Okay.
You said Ms. Ogden is going to Director of Housing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So we restructuring the organization, and that will be, we can address it in executive session. But she will go, she's gonna be moving around. We are looking for a maintenance director, and that's probably an internal promotion, but we can address that.
Ms. Curry, will you please make sure that the repayment agreements on for next month's old business as well?
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Since you mentioned Ms. Ogden being transferred, do we have an organizational chart at this meeting, at this time?
No, not at this time, Commissioner Bailey, because, there's some movements, I would address, address in executive session. Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
but I
ma'am.
asked for a draft where y'all were at, even though it may not be a final permanent organizational chart.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to see the movement. Where
I
y'all
can
are
give
at
you
now.
a draft, but it's far from accurate.
That's all right.
President chart. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, we'll address
Okay.
it, we'll get that, get your copy.
Give the whole commission a copy.
No, ma'am, we're gonna get,
Yeah.
get the commissioner a copy.
Okay, moving on, we have under old business, do you guys wanna take these as individuals, or do you wanna take them as a whole? Commissioners, the approval process of the you wanna take them one by one, or do you wanna do them as a whole?
Still has a
What's
whole
that whole
It's
time.
as a whole.
See,
Okay, I will entertain a motion for approval of the minutes from the September sixth, September 14th, September 14 executive session, September 19 special call, and the September 26 special call.
I'd like to make a motion to approve September sixth,
I second the motion.
September 14, September 19th, and September 26, 2022 minutes, the session for those minutes.
Got a motion
I
by
second the motion.
Commissioner Dickerson to approve the minutes from September sixth, September 14th, September 14th, September 19th, and September 26th. Seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Moving on to approval of the September 2022 financial reports.
Okay, overall, our expenses are tracking below budget in general, with one exception. But what I want to bring up, which I brought up last month, but it's a good reminder, because the organizational chart is changing, since July 1st, we have not made any changes in, basically, the changes are in payroll to where people's salaries are charged. So let's just say if I was working in Section 8, now I'm working in public housing, on the financials, I'm still in Section 8. So those expenses are going to change, but I'm waiting until we get a final organizational chart, because it gets really chaotic when you go in and make multiple changes. And if you know it's gonna change again, don't waste your time. So I've got those changes to deal with, so this will shift slightly, but just keep that in mind. And also, as I mentioned last month, the expenses that are related to the transition that's going on are being gathered in Georgia HAP, one of our non-federal funds. Included in that are the expenses that we're doing for the units that we are currently renovating, that are, that we have contracted out. Some of those expenses will probably be moved into public housing expenses as vacancy prep type expenses when it's done. But in the meantime, I'm just gathering all those expenses in our non-federal funds. So overall, what I'm trying to say is there's gonna be a lot of movement between the different funds, but right now, everything is okay, and I am keeping my eye on it all.
Okay.
So we're under budget, except for payroll.
I wouldn't say, well, payroll is, overall, is still exactly where it was budgeted, actual payroll dollars. Most everything else those are contract expenses, consulting contract expenses.
Okay.
But payroll dollars might be changing in where they're being charged
Where
at the
they're being
moment.
charged.
Yes,
Okay.
the departments. And and when we do get the finalized organizational chart, depending on how long somebody has been working in a department they weren't working on earlier, we would make it retroactive to whatever date. So, it will be good going forward once we get that final chart.
And the, what's her name, Miss Rachel with Malcolm and Johnson, has she completed her audit at this point?
They will be back, no, they left because they're based out of Central Florida, so they left in the middle,
For the hurricane?
For the hurricane.
Okay.
They're coming back, because of their prior arrangements, they can't come back together. One's coming back next week and the other is coming back the following week, the other auditor.
Okay. And do you have a update on if the audit is going well at this point?
No,
I know they
actually,
probably only did a modicum of work. But
yes, they have, no, not even far enough along to know that.
Not even far enough.
Mhm.
I have a question.
Okay,
So, last month, y'all reported that y'all, completed 1,130 maintenance contracts. So, was it in the last month report, the money that was spent for the repairs and the materials, or is it in this one? And
If it was done in the month, whatever was done in the month of
September,
September would be charged in the month of September.
okay,
And basically, basic work orders would show up, you know, just the payroll dollars would show up in maintenance labor. And then generally, if it was minor repairs and stuff would show up under maintenance materials.
okay, I see it right here, that's my question. So, last month, y'all, so what month was it? A combination of July and August and September that you completed the 1,130 maintenance contracts, or how was that done?
I remember when Ed said that in his report, and I think he was talking about 60 days, so I think he was talking about July and August at that
Okay.
time.
And have we generated yet a basic maintenance report of the maintenance that was done?
No, not at, well, yes, we're so far behind in our, well, let me put it this way. We're currently tracking that, but because of our units are at the point that every unit needs to be remodeled, it's different. When we go in one unit, we're staying in that unit, so but we are tracking that. And if you, Ms. Ogden, and we're, and as well as Ms. Dyer, we are getting together and seeing how can we adequately track that in a system. We are looking at another system, maintenance system, work order system that would allow us to track that accurately. And so,
And we had the same issue under the last administration. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I wanna keep track of the contracts, like I asked before, or what the maintenance most common problem is, where, and what community they were done in, because when you do these contracts, somebody is putting data in the system to keep up with the contracts, right?
yeah, well, we can give that to you, if we got to have that to you Monday or Tuesday when it's all get back. I mean, that's no problem, that's the first
Just
time I
for
heard that
additional
request.
clarity, are you asking for maintenance contracts or the work orders?
The work orders.
Okay.
That's what I've
Work
been
order.
asking for, the work, because when you get a,
Yeah,
you get a work order from
Yeah,
a site
yeah.
manager,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody has to put it in the computer of what has to be done, when it was done,
Yes, ma'am.
and how it was, and when it was completed. So I just want a basic update of where we at with maintenance to see if some of it is coming down, the improvement is being made,
Okay,
and where.
okay, you want work order status and, okay, I got you. We can have that to you Monday or Tuesday, no problem.
I've been asking, okay.
I mean,
Listen.
I got, that's the,
I gave a chart a couple of months ago to another staff member, Ms. Cooper. So I've been asking for this and I haven't gotten one yet.
well, I'll make sure you have that, Ms.
Okay.
Commissioner.
Any other questions on the September 2022 financial reports?
Commissioner, am I allowed to ask a question?
I will allow it.
Okay. Just to clarify, the audit that you were mentioning before, is that the one you guys mentioned the last meeting? Because when I was here last meeting, you mentioned something about an audit that it was gonna happen. And I
That's
wanna
our
make sure-
fiscal year-end
That's the
audit
one,
that we
right?
have
Okay,
every
all right,
year.
I just wanna make sure I understood. Okay, thank you, that's all. Thank you.
It's just a favor to you because
I know, thank you.
That's all.
I'll pay you back. Thank you.
Commissioner, you want me to also add the contractors working on the units as well?
I did not know,
Okay,
No.
just wanna make, okay.
just the date the work order went in, when it was completed, and what the repairs was. And-
Okay,
and-
got you. Okay, ma'am.
And if any repairs have not been completed,
Okay.
why?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Any further questions on the September 2022 financial reports? I will entertain a motion for approval of the September 2022 financial reports.
Need to make a motion that we approve September 2022 financial report.
I would second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve the September 2022 financial report, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Moving on to executive director's items, new business. Director Baker, this is your part.
I don't, everything I need to speak on, we need to go into executive session. I have no reports right now.
Under the approvals needed section.
Staff bonuses, that need to go into executive session.
Okay, so did everyone get a copy of the bond issuance policies? I will entertain a motion on approving the bond issuance policies.
Place a motion that we approve the bond issuance policies.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve the bond issuance policy, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed have the same.
I didn't get a chance to read it.
Just one abstain. I need you to,
Abstain, yeah.
you said, well, no, I'm asking.
Abstain, I'm gonna abstain for that. Or either, is there a deadline where this has to be in
Technically, it would be
before what? I have not read it, cause I did not have time to look through it.
you want this to stand for me?
Can we defer it until next month?
We've got two approvals on it for now.
We
And
can go back in. Motion to intercede, so I can read. Do whatever else is. Abstain, yeah.
So that motion passes with 3 yeses and 1 abstain. The Choice Neighborhood NOFO, this is, did everyone have an opportunity to look over the Choice Neighborhood notice of?
Before we go any further, can you explain those bond issue costs? Those are the bonds so that we can go rebuild and everything.
Those were the ones that with, Vitus,
So that, you might have,
yes, sir, please, you'll probably be a little more eloquent at it.
well, I don't know if I can do that, but, I'll try. So we have issued bonds in the past, like we talked about, as the housing authority, you can be the issuer of bonds. And so the policy was to formalize, if somebody wants to ask you all to issue bonds, what information should they get us prior to asking that, and what are our policies if we're gonna serve as the issuer of bonds? Some of what was in the bonds has sort of historically happened, but we never had a policy saying on paper, here's how we act. And so it required an application fee, it requires information about the developer so that you have some understanding when somebody's coming to ask you for the bonds, who they are. It's not actually voting, this is not a vote to issue bonds.
Okay.
It was just a vote to have a policy that in the future, if somebody comes before you asking you to issue the bonds, they need to make sure they follow these policies and procedures, which you could always, amend. If we get into it and we find there's part of the policy that's not working, we can always address it. But I think it's just a good practice to have that so that you know who you're dealing with and have some financial information, who are the principals of the developers, what are they proposing. So it just says, if you want us to help you with your development as the issuer, we're asking that you pay some application fees, and get us a thorough disclosure of who you are.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving on again to the Choice Neighborhood Notice of Funding Opportunity. I know this just recently come out, and I did did see it come over, I tried to make sure everyone got the initials on it. There's a lot that encompasses it. We will have to, there's the mayor at, Mayor Johnson. We will have to partner with the city on a number of different things with that, and a couple other partners. Mr. Edwards will be, of course, that's our grants guy. Yeah, manager, apologies. There's a deadline on getting this task done, but I think that the board should vote to say we're gonna go after this. I believe the funding for this implementation, how much was the funding, Mr. Edwards?
It depends on development of the application. There's a ceiling of about 5 million. But it depends on the, construct. And this is the initial planning stage. Then you qualify to go into the full development stage. But, yeah, it depends on the scope of the project and the planning that we develop behind it.
Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of moving pieces to this.
Might I add, applications due January 11th. It would be great to have all of our pieces pretty much in place before the holidays, so that we can, because, people get scattered, people, go to visit family. We like some time to pull everything together, dot all the i's, cross all the t's, and have a workable document by the return of the holidays for approval, so that we can submit on time.
Okay.
Is there any data on this that we can look at and read and
It's
see?
available in the NOFO.
You know what?
The NOFO, the notice.
The notice of funding opportunity that he shared with everybody.
I believe, Ms. Curry, we just attached the synopsis.
Yes, sir.
The NOFO itself is 100 some odd pages.
Okay.
And I didn't want to get everyone to have an extra 100 pages. But if you can, I believe on the initial.
And there's a link on that notification that you can go if you want to dive that deep into it.
Download. There's a link on there to download the actual and everything that's got to go into it. I haven't had a chance to review the fullness of it myself. I know that in the past, as I review these type of documents, looking forward to the choice neighborhood grants. We still have to look at a number of things. Of course, I would look forward to a McIntyre Court area, Mr. Bravo. But again, I don't know everything about it at this point, but I think that if we don't at least go after it, the answer of us getting any of those funds to do it is automatically no.
Mr. Chair, if I'm correct, on my research from it, didn't the Grange partner, the Grange housing?
I believe they did do a
Yeah.
choice neighborhood planning grant.
So that's an
Planning and
example.
Right, yeah, besides their RAD projects.
Yeah.
Yes.
So y'all want us to, over the holidays, come back and vote on this?
No, we won't, all we have to do is, it's my opinion that the board votes to, instruct staff to go after it. And staff's just gotta do all the legwork. We get to just sit back and say, hey, did you get it done yet?
But it's gonna be key that we pull in the city, county,
Yes.
other partners,
Schools,
schools.
our partners, our after-school program
Yes.
partners that we
Yeah.
have.
I just need to read the synopsis, and it's on what website?
The synopsis should be in your,
Can we look at it over the month and come back and,
well, our deadline is January 11th.
okay,
And the issue, just hang on,
Right.
the issue with this is because there is going to be so many moving parts and so many partners that also have to do all of their work. All we're saying is, and my opinion, all we have to do is say to the board, or as the board is saying, staff, please go after the grant. And then from there, any of the other research that is required,
And what is the grant going to do remodel?
it would be, the best example I can give is,
That's, we all got videos on the Grange House.
yes, the Grange House Authority.
That's a
how
great
they-
example right there.
Some of it was torn down,
Oh, yeah.
some was rebuilt, new construction. But they encompassed so many city blocks in that entire
Right.
area.
Paul
as well.
Ferguson spoke about that when he was here.
Yes, he does
Okay,
speak about
I'm
that.
familiar, yeah. Okay.
So I will, what's this? Is this?
That's a chart. That's a chart.
Okay. So, I will entertain a motion to instruct staff to, go after the choice neighborhood grant.
I would like to make a motion that we proceed with the choice neighborhood, and that's our staff to proceed with this.
I'd like to second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to instruct staff to go after the choice neighborhood NOFO, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do you have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Brooks Jeffries. While we were, well, let me, Brooks Jeffries is currently our website branding, marketing company. While we were in Savannah at the training, we had an opportunity to speak with Miss Bibby. And she would like, would like to take us on and expand her contract to include public relations for the housing authority. We don't have to vote on it. This is just for our discussion if we think that we need or want that additional service for the housing authority. Again, to handle our public relations as we move forward here with the housing authority.
So,
She already works with us.
Yes, she already works with us.
so is that the person that, Bradley Skipper goes to in order to insert or put information into the computer? I mean, this Bibby lady, Miss Katie Bibby.
No, I think that's a different.
I don't know the person that he's on that.
I'm sorry, which, just for the,
Say it again, what's her job?
she does, she handles our, well, the firm, she's just a point person, or a point person, handles the website, branding
Right.
and marketing already.
And don't tell me that.
And then, should be interested in handling our public relations as well.
And that would include on what?
Well, staff would have to get into further contact with them again, it would be an expansion
And
of their existing.
what would her duties be under that public relations? What would her duties be?
That would be negotiated with staff.
So what will her duties be as public relations, as far as the website?
As far as the website, most definitely needs improvement, to say the least. So I spoke with them in Savannah, and I told them I really like to defer her to the chairman, because we need to expand, we need to improve, we need to make our website accessible. We need to have our meetings posted on the web. There's a laundry list that I think that this agency should be more user friendly to our residents. So we still exploring what that would look like if you all want us to go down that pathway with them, as well as external presentation and how the agency looks. So we do need to share our accomplishments, and we even share our achievements and some of our challenges and solicit partners. So I think the site can help us in that process. Also, we do need to reach out to the city, the county, and other leadership, other organizations. I think it can help us with that, but that's still to be explored. We're on board with this direction.
Now, there has been another discrepancy under the old administration and this one. And I had a conversation, because we paid Mr. Skipper a substantial amount of money as the IT director, and he needs training, and we're paying a third person. So that person ought to have a job, because we're paying him a substantial amount of money to do the computer operations. We don't need somebody else to come in. And I understand that because I gave him some information to put in the computer.
Yes, ma'am.
He has to call her first, and she puts in a certain amount, and he puts in a certain amount. We're spending too much money on this, and so if you want to have a computer IT person, they need to do their job.
Yes,
and not have that third party. But how much have we spent paying her to do her job now, along with Mr. Skipper? And then we have Akeem Washington as the underneath Skipper. Is he still working underneath IT?
Yes, ma'am. That's we will address that also in executive session.
Address what?
Hakeem and Mr. Skipper.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things lacking. Like I said, I looked at that website yesterday, and it's been like that for some years now.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and I addressed that with you when you first came on board.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's nothing new. But public relations, yeah, I will hold off on that until we get some training. So you talking about keeping Mr. Skipper?
Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna do this.
We'll discuss that.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, or excuse me, Director Baker, will you get us some more information?
Yes, sir.
From Brooks
Yes, sir.
Industries?
Yes, sir.
Potentially have her come out and give us a presentation to further explain.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Excuse.
Oh, yes, sir. I
So I do
understand.
have to go.
Yes, sir.
I apologize.
That's quite all right.
In fact, I'll call Miss Christina so I can be on the phone. How that sound? That's good. Thank you. All right, see you later.
Moving on, addition of the Juneteenth being a holiday on our holiday calendar.
Yeah, I think that the board just need to acknowledge this as an official holiday and recognize that, right now it's not. And so I ask the board to recognize the Juneteenth as an official holiday.
I will entertain a motion to recognize Juneteenth as a holiday for the Brunswick House.
Then I will second that motion.
That'll be first.
Works on the motion.
Make the motion.
Make the motion.
Okay, do we have a second? We have a motion by Commissioner Dobson to make Juneteenth a holiday for the Brunswick House Authority, seconded by Madam Vice Chair Bailey. Do we have any further discussion? So long as there's three, we can go. on, yeah. It has to be used and we will call it, as long as we have free, we can vote. The motion is for it to be a holiday for National Housing.
But if it's already a holiday, as a state or federal, why do we have to adopt it as a holiday once we have it?
Because our calendar does not currently reflect that.
Can we just,
It's not official.
That's what the vote is for.
okay, okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. The motion passes unanimously. Write-offs of tenants accounts receivable classified as uncollectible as of September
I
30,
got a question
2022.
for the holidays.
What's for the holidays? Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, I'll ask her.
Okay. So write-offs of tenants accounts receivable classified as uncollectible as of September 30, 2022. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the accounts receivables?
Yes. Yes. Is it any way,
Okay. Mr. Dickerson?
Yes, sir, I'm gonna keep my phone on me.
Okay. We're at the write-offs of tenants accounts receivable, and Madam Vice Chair has
is it any way that we can find out how many more residents will be paid that $5 extra fee? Because I seen one on this one here, so is it any way to calculate how many more residents we have that $5 keeps getting added on to this write-off?
To answer your question, yes, and there is a way to do that. It's a tedious process, but we're in the process of rewriting that algorithm so that $5 will not be added to the residents. So that you shouldn't see $5 trash fee moving forward. Is that correct?
The late fees are done.
Oh, so
Yeah, the late fees have already
yeah, $5 late fee has already been taken out. This is prior to.
Now, I mean, we get a report at the end of every month that shows how many people, what the balance is of all tenant accounts receivable, and in the details of that report, you can see people, I don't know how many there are, but you could see the details of everyone's balance. So if somebody had a $5 late fee that has been on there for a while and they haven't been written off yet, you could see it and identify it, but I don't know of any other way to do it rather than just to look through the entire report.
If I seen correctly, one of the people on it, they came in here in 2021. And so that $5, let me see if I can find it, was added on. Because we've been dealing with this since January, and the answer is always that, this was before January of this year
Yes.
that it was taken off. So my question is it any way to find out how many more tenants we have that will have that $5 added to there before they are all cleared of that $5 fee?
Tenants who already have old $5 fees on their account, right? Who haven't been
And so
written off
they-
yet.
Okay,
Because nobody's getting the $5 fee now.
right.
So it's just the older ones, and, I mean, I don't know how many are in there, I'm sure there are some that haven't been written off, but,
So we won't know that until they move out, or they.
I mean, you could physically go through the report. I don't know of any other way to do it, I don't know if there's a way that IT could look in there and, grab that information, but I mean, you could look at the report and, go through and say, okay, this person has $5 fees, this person doesn't, and just come up with a total that way. That's the only way I know off the top of my head. I mean, but that's doable.
Because it seems like the way it's going, when we go into the new year, we're gonna still be talking about that $5 fee
Right.
is on the
Right.
past things, and it's still rolling over. So that's my question, how to eliminate it even from the past.
Well, I mean, if we didn't stop the $5 late fees until whatever the date was, January
January.
1st or whatever, if we still have people from last October who have $5 fees on there, they won't go away until those people move out,
Okay.
whenever that may be, for whatever reason.
Either they move out or they pay.
Right, right, yeah.
If they pay,
Okay.
if they
Right.
pay, then it goes away, or
Right.
if they move out without paying, then that's when we
Right,
see it.
but, I mean, between now and the next board meeting, I mean, to compile a list of who still has lingering $5 late fees out there.
That would have to go
Okay.
through each residence
And I
account.
think that,
Just on the tenant
I
accounts
think that,
receivable
with
report and just
further
highlight,
discussion-
each.
I think that with further discussion of the repayment agreement.
Right.
That may offer
Right.
a bit of,
Incentive.
Right.
incentive for them to get those $5 late fees, and that may allow us to move those $5 late fees off of their balance, to make our financials look a little bit better.
Right. So I make a I ask the board to approve the write-off for $3,288.45.
Is that just one specifically, or is that the entire?
That's the entire, the gross amounts.
Well, we have to, when we approved it, we approved the entirety of the monthly write-off.
That's the entire.
And I will entertain a motion to approve the write-off of tenants' accounts receivable classified as uncollectible as of September 30, 2022.
And I was second.
I need you got
I
me
need
first.
first. I need first.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dobson to approve the write-offs of a tenant's accounts receivable classified as uncollectible as of September 30, 2022, seconded by Madam Vice Chair Bailey. Is there any further discussion? Just to be clear, one more time, the next month, we potentially can see $5 late fees due to the fact that there may be a resident who was here prior to the policy eliminating the $5 late fee, who potentially still has $5 late fees on their account.
Prior to.
But they are not currently accruing $5 late fees.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Okay, just want to be clear on
Right.
that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. I forgot he was on there. Thank you, Commissioner Dickerson. That motion passes unanimously.
Okay.
Moved on into discussion items, we have reports of committees, commissioners' items, which are questions about the oral reports. Madam Vice Chair.
Yeah, okay.
You
This
have,
is-
you have the actual reports, written reports.
Yeah, they emailed, Ms. Curry emailed them to us over the last week, a couple of days over the last week. Yeah,
Can I get those?
okay. The first thing I have on my list is, Goodwill Partnership. Has the staff contacted Goodwill yet?
Yes, we have, but I would defer to Chairman Kitts on that one.
Goodwill, what is the young lady's name? Anyway, I've had an email exchange with Goodwill. Again, we approve Goodwill, they're not soliciting, they're not asking for anything. Our agreement with them is they can come onto our property anytime they want and work with the residents anytime they want.
Yeah.
That's our partnership. They're not asking us for funding or anything of that nature, they just wanted permission to be on the property. So they have acknowledged that in an email to me that they are willing to do that, and they do not need any further permission from this board. Out of just respect for staff, they can contact staff, but at any time they want, they can set up an event or go door to door and provide their services, which is a great partnership. with us to our residents.
I got when was the last time you talked to Ms. Jackson?
I do not recall at this point.
Okay.
I spoke with her last month, I think you were right. Maybe
Last month?
Yes, ma'am, I spoke with her last month, right?
Okay.
Right after the board meeting. And
Mhm.
we gave her complete carte blanche, and she said that's all she needed from us.
Well, she sent me 2 emails that she sent to the whole commission, and neither one of them were answered. She sent one September the 23rd, and she sent one October the 5th. And in those emails, she gave a specific date when she wanted to start approximately. And she's asking for space on the property to hold it. I'm not gonna get into all that she asked for, but you, Mr. Baker, did not answer either one of her emails.
Well, let me say this, let me say
Let
this.
me,
So-
let me
Yes,
say
ma'am.
this.
Yes, ma'am. There is no space, and I
What?
said that.
Let me finish.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me finish. It may not be no space, but you did not answer either one of her emails. She's contacted everybody and she responded to me. If we don't have any, she's not asking for funding. She's asking to come in on a particular day. But what I'm saying to you is, as the executive director,
I spoke to her.
when did you speak to her?
I spoke to her in September, and I spoke to her, I can remember sometime, probably late September, maybe after that email, before that email came out, that there's no space. Maybe she's appealing to you all for space, and I said, there is no space.
No, she's appealing to you too.
Yes, ma'am.
When I talked to Ms. Jackson, she said, Mr. Kitts, she talked to Mr. Kitts, she never talked to you. She asked me who you were. And so my question is, if we have partnerships out here in the community, and they're directing the question to our executive director, I would expect you to answer it, because she is
Yes, ma'am.
looking for a specific date, a group of people, but please get in contact with her
Yes.
if she wants an update. And I would like to know, and please respond to me that you have answered her emails.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, the October 5, and I'm looking at this email, October 5 email.
And she directly asked Mr. Baker for information, and he
She
did not
asked for information.
answer.
She literally says, I just wanted to touch base with you all regarding the partnership with the Opportunity Center at Goodwill and the BHA.
So,
I'm available as soon as October 25 to come down and set up a meeting with you. So she's not even asking to come down until October 25th.
Listen,
It's what the email says.
why are you raising your voice?
It is what the
But
email
listen,
says.
this email is not between me and you, it's between
Yes,
Mr.
it
Baker.
went to the entire board.
And he did not respond. Look at 23rd, look at September 23rd.
Hang on, no, you specifically brought in this
Mr.
email on
Kitts,
October 25.
Chairman
She
Kitts.
says she's not even available
Mr.
until the
Kitts,
25th.
this conversation is between Mr.
Actually,
Baker
the
and me.
conversation is with everyone in this room.
Okay.
But I want you to be clear when you speak about this, because you're saying that he hasn't contacted her, and she's saying she's not even available until October 25th.
She
If I'm not
said,
mistaken, today's date is not even the 25th.
that's September the 23rd. I know it's not October the 25th yet, but she wants some type of reply, and she wants some information completed of where she can meet, and how many, or one at a time, that she can meet them.
But she
Mr. Kitts,
doesn't,
Chairman Kitts,
I'm available
you're
as
getting
soon
into the
as
day-to-day
October 25th.
business. You're getting into the day-to-day business. This question is for Mr. Baker.
Miss.
He did not answer the 2 emails.
Commissioner Bailey, I will address that immediately, okay?
Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am,
you.
thank you, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Continue on, please.
Okay. Do you have I asked last month for the resident charge sheets, like how y'all pay them with their trash being left on the curb and stuff like that. I did not see it in this binder. Do we have that? You said we would get that
You
package.
said, trash being left on the curb?
I said the charge list that we charge residents for maintenance or repairs or things that they left or didn't do. Yeah, y'all charge them for trash can being left on the curb. Where's that charge list that we asked for last month?
Okay, that's the same thing as the work order list. That's,
Mm-mm.
no, but the trash bin, we cannot charge them from that. HUD will not allow us to do that.
No, no, no.
It's not the same.
No.
Not maintenance charge. She needs
Two
it
things.
on
Normally, once a year, the board approves the maintenance charge fee list, which
Right.
is to replace a door, to unplug a toilet, all these, you know, what the rate will be. They normally approve that
Right.
once a month, once a year.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think it's around this time of year. And I know it was mentioned last month at the meeting.
Yes,
There is a charge on that list for not bringing your trash can in from the street or not taking it out to the street, something like that. There is a charge for that on the thing. What you're talking about is the fee, the pass-through
Okay.
fee,
Okay,
yeah.
which is different.
okay.
So last month I asked for that package and you said that you would get me that package. I need to look at that package and look at the prices. Because
Okay,
that
good.
person who had those items on the curb,
Yes, ma'am.
that was charged $16.50 because she unloaded her apartment on the curb. So I asked for that charge list. I need that, I'd like to see that.
Okay, you will have that Monday or Tuesday.
Okay,
Get her the charge fee as well, and get her that, and the maintenance work order.
the other thing is, Mr. Baker, when we have a presentation and we're considering somebody to partnership with us, have you got in touch with Ms. Sharice Lee with WorkSource?
Cerise Lee, a
Yes, with
presentation?
WorkSource, 21, yes.
No, ma'am, I can't say, I can remember, no, ma'am. Not-
Okay, well, last month we had the lady that came in for phlebotomy and she wanted to offer it for 2 weeks. WorkSource offers it and they pay for transportation and childcare
Okay.
out to Pines, okay? So we do not have to charge this, the lady that came in last month for
Yes,
the
ma'am.
2 weeks presentation, because she wants funding for us for
Right.
those 2 weeks. And there's more than one phlebotomy certificate, and she didn't say which one she was going to, have the people be certified for.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'd rather that you get in contact with WorkSource,
Okay,
Ms. Sharice Lee, and see, and do that partnership with her. She does work with a lot of residents here.
okay,
And that is one of the partnerships that's not on our website.
okay.
The other thing is, there was, I think you, Mr. Edwards, you said that we have various third-party nonprofit and community groups. What are the names of those nonprofit and community groups that we are thinking about partnership? And what type of partnership do we have with Sea Island?
I didn't record anything in my report about Sea Island.
It's in the newspaper and it's in this report. that
Is my
you-
name attached to it?
Whoever,
See, Alan, we're in the process of doing that now. We're talking to, I think, Jay and,
Hold
Jay
on.
Wiggins. So we're in the process, their CEO is in heavy travel in the last few months, but we're moving close to that partnership. We're still working out that arrangement now as we speak. One of the things that is on the table, Seattle would tend to give us the resources to help us with landscaping and to help us possible turnkey with transportation to get people back and forth from Sea Island to our property. So we're still working out that MOU right now.
so
So it's, and the Sea Island agreement has not been, we're still working on that agreement, has not been completed yet, so we're still working out the terms on it.
So one of the agreements, you said that if we have residents that's working on Sea Island, that somebody from Sea Island will bring them home?
They would bring them, they would transport them to a central location, is my understanding, correct?
I don't know if they've agreed to that yet.
Yeah, but I mean, they haven't agreed to anything, but we're just talking about, we're talking to them about that. They haven't agreed to anything, but we are open, we are talking, we are having
Okay.
open discussion.
All right. How many vacancies do we have this month?
I think we're right at 40, I believe.
Let that be on a monthly report so we can know what our vacancies number is.
Yes, ma'am.
Last month I asked forever, once again, how many veterans we have in each community. Mr. Skipper said that Ms. Howe has that number. I have yet to get that number. As a veteran, I would like to have communications with our veterans in housing so they can know what benefits or anything that they might need, because the DAV organization is here to serve veterans. So I don't have that number. I would like that number.
Mr. Hartman, from a legal point of view and privacy laws, can Commissioner or Madam Vice Chair Bailey obtain the names and addresses of veterans in our properties?
I don't want
So
names
she
and
can
addresses.
she can just have the number.
Yeah, I think we could share numbers, and there's probably a way we can share information with those folks without having names, but I think we could give a number.
But,
Just so we can give a number, and then if she needed additional information to be passed to them.
I think staff could take
Staff
that
could-
information and make sure it got to the,
Right.
but in the handbook for commissioners, we are allowed to talk to the residents. I don't need
Yes.
to go to their apartment. We can meet anywhere, and I can give them information and help them along and see where they're at. So I need to know how many veterans we have, and then set up some kind of way in the near future for me to have a conversation with them once a month to see what their needs are.
I think that what you could do is write something specifically for veterans in our newsletter, or you could write something specifically for veterans and have staff pass it out to veterans. However, and make sure I'm correct on the legal for the privacy
I
matters.
think both the newsletter or the email could invite
Mm-hmm.
veterans
Them to
to
here.
a meeting.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
just like I'm sure we make residents aware of opportunities at Star Foundation or other opportunities for residents, I mean, that,
Yes.
you could, but I think that would come, probably the right channel is from you to staff, staff shares it with the residents and allows the residents to know about opportunities for veterans in the community.
Mhm. Mhm. And the other thing is, what are we doing, what is Brunswick Housing Authority doing for Veterans Day next month, for November the 11th?
I mean, right now, I think, if I remember, right now there's nothing planned, but we can put some on the calendar for that. So, I have no idea outside of putting, in the newsletter, we're just gonna recognize them in the letter, flags and celebrating that, and we're hopefully getting some on the website to celebrate them on veterans. But as for any particular activity, no, not.
So let me ask you this, when Juneteenth comes, y'all will have activities for Juneteenth, right? To celebrate Juneteenth, right? Christmas, Halloween?
That can be planned, yes, ma'am.
So we need to celebrate our veterans. Have a cake, invite them for a slice of cake, or do the decorations, whatever.
Yeah, I do agree that the veterans should be.
Recognized.
It should be recognized. I mean, so the best way to do it is through a newsletter, but, and I think veterans should be celebrated. I celebrate them whenever I see them, and even pay for me. So, as an organization, are you saying you want us to do something? Okay, I just need to look and see what that looks like.
Buy a cake, offer them a slice of cake, some decorations or something, celebrate them.
I mean, we can,
Celebrate
I mean, I think that maybe, let me get with staff, and maybe we can send a newsletter out for a slice of cake and Coke or something with the agency, but I beyond that, I don't really know, cause I don't really know who they are, but we can send newsletter out. If you're a veteran, please come to the office and.
Newsletter, website.
Yeah, Yes, yes,
I
ma'am.
know.
Yes, ma'am.
And the other thing was, Mr. Cooper is not here, and Ms. Rutland is not here this morning. Did Mr. Cooper attend the, September first of all, was there a residential meeting in September?
Ms. Rutland would know.
Ms. Butler would know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So you wouldn't know whether she had a residential meeting or not, Mr. Baker?
I know that she took some residents to Athens, and I think that she has not reported to me about a resident meeting. I know that she's having cooking events for the residents. I know that we are in the process of establishing the resident association. I'm not sure who's handling that. I think Mr. Evans or Mr. Brooks are handling that, so.
Outside the residential organization, yes.
I'm just gonna suggest that if we want to talk about any personnel issues, that we do that in closed
Okay.
executive session.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tell you what to say or
Right.
questions to ask, that's just gonna be a recommendation.
Okay, I just wanted to know when Mr. Cooper attended the residential meeting to introduce himself to the residents, because two communities go at a time. The residential meetings are every month, they were not listed dates for September. So I don't know if they had one or not, but I asked for him to attend to introduce himself, because remember last meeting,
Right. And I'm
he
just
was
gonna-
not
I'm gonna
known.
just
Yeah.
further ask. that-
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Who's this? Mitchell Edwards. We already had,
I'm sorry, Madam Vice Chair,
yes,
it appears you have a lot of questions.
no, this is not a lot, this is other paperwork underneath here.
Okay.
I just,
And
but,
it-
yes,
I'm just asking, can some of these questions actually be handled in an email? Because it appears you have a lot of
Listen.
questions about the reports, and
this is it,
you are
this is
seeking,
it, this is not it.
you are seeking additional information. And I just want to account for everyone's time.
I'm not seeking additional information, I'm questioning the information that they gave last month.
So my question is, can you just ask in an email of staff those same questions?
Go back to the record.
I'm just wondering for time, because we still have a lot of stuff to cover.
And I'm gonna leave in about 10 minutes to catch a plane, so if we're gonna go into executive
And we
session.
still have to have our.
Okay.
board
And then we could come
response.
back out and you could ask
Okay.
the questions after that, but
Okay.
I'm gonna be,
Okay, sounds good, we'll do it after this.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and move into executive session.
First,
I make the motion.
motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion to adjourn and move into executive session by Commissioner Dickerson, or excuse me, Dobson, second by Madam Vice Chair Bailey. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Please extinguish the camera. Okay, we are, all set?
Yep.
We are returning back from executive session and a small recess. We are continuing in our Brunswick Housing Authority regular meeting. And Madam Vice Chair Bailey, still under the Commissioner Jones. Questions about oral reports?
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. The first one is to Mr. Edwards. This form says that we initiated the FSS grant application we initiated September 1st a grant for the FSS. Now, Alson was supposed to already have this program. when it says it initiated it, is this a renewal or is this the first time we're having this program here?
Yeah, we were still running an FSS program, but it wasn't being done overall or across the board. And, so our application is actually dual. It's a renewal for the process we were running, and it's new to make sure that we get everything under one umbrella for that. And it has been submitted now. Because when we did that report, it was kind of in the process, it wasn't due until October. So now it has been submitted, and, we'll await.
So, so do we have to renew this every 2 years? Cause this says this is a total 2-year funding.
Yeah,
So
once
every
you're
2 years.
under because we were just running it as a program because HUD like to see you run it. Once I understood that, we were initiating a new contract for the every 2-year money from them to help fund a couple of more people to help make sure that we can be effective at it.
Was this supposed to be renewed every 2 years prior to you getting here?
It should have been.
And Ms. Rutledge, that was you doing FSS program prior to Mr. Williams getting here, right? Mr. Edwards getting here. So when was the last time you renewed this FSS program?
I've never renewed it. I've never did any grants or anything. The supervisor I had, she used to do grants, but once she left, I don't know, they wasn't paying me, from my understanding, from a grant. So we didn't need the grant. They just was paying me out of Section 8 and compliance or something like that. So we never submitted. If it was submitted, it had to be submitted through Ms. Strickland.
Okay.
I've never did. That was my first time really hearing about it.
Yes.
I don't recall since I've been here. If we did, it was in the very beginning, but it's been either never or many years since we've actually received funding for the FSS program.
So how were we implementing the FFS program without the funding? Isn't that what you were doing?
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
I do now.
It was, and it wasn't an additional person, it was an existing staff member who took on those duties, so it was no extra expense to the housing authority to run that. As I assumed the justification was for not applying for it.
So going forward, I would like to know a monthly number of how many people are going in and going out of this FSS program. Do you have, is it a waiting list now for people? Yeah.
We don't mind getting them reports, but we're not gonna tie the staff down with tedious objectives. This is one, you should, let's ask your questions, and then let's move forward. Come to me and tell me exactly what you want, and I'll make sure you get it, okay? Put that in writing to me.
So, okay.
Put it in writing. I'm saying that.
Well, we're in this meeting now.
Ask the question. I'm saying ask the question and give you an answer for all your requests. Please come to me. I'm asking that. Is that fair?
But but with our questions, our requests get asking me that this is the purpose of these meetings.
But what I'm saying is the task that you are asked, send an email to me or to each other, ask that directly to the director, not the staff. Like now you're getting into day.
Okay, well, if she runs the program, right?
Right. I'm asking Commissioner.
Okay, I'm asking you.
Put all your demands and requests in writing to the director.
Well, I can do it in writing after I request it in person.
Yes.
Okay, so going forward, I asked a month ago or two if we had a staff member that was over the different programs that we're doing in housing to see if they're being run and how many residents are going in and coming out and what's the waiting list. So if we're running these programs, I just want to know the rotation of numbers. I don't need any names. I just need to know a monthly number of how this program is running and see what their accomplishments are. And we ask that it be advertised. You know what I'm saying? So I can put that in writing to you. Put it, because
No, I'm asking, you said something to me.
advertise, put it on, let the other residents know that they are residents participating in the FSS program here in Housing Authority. The self-sufficiency program. We don't know it, it's not on, we just wanna know that it's being used. Did I miss a joke, someone? Okay, that's all the question I think I had for you. That was what, that, we started out with Mr. Edwards, and we rotated over to you. So that's all with that. I just wanna know that the programs that we implementing here are being run and residents are going, completing out. That's all. And the numbers. Mr. Williams, where are we with the, first of all, I hope you get better soon. Are you still able to function here and work every day?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Where are we at with the resident council with the Brooklyn homes?
Currently, I'm waiting from what the attorneys told me that once we got them to this point, we've got to wait for them to come back to us with a date for an election. We put all that together. And what I was told, they were probably doing that after they came back from the GERMA conference. So anytime now, I can check with them and see if when they're planning or if they're planning to do their election. They said that they were ready to do it.
You talking about when they come back from Athens for the resident
Yeah, when they came back from
leadership?
Athens, right.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to see how that went, yeah. Okay, what, you said that you connected with the Chamber of Commerce and staff is going to, are they gonna attend the Leadership Blend program? Or what opportunities, what connection we have with the Chamber and staff?
As far as Leadership Blend, this year, we were too late to send any, individuals for this year. I've already spoke with the, chairman of the chamber. He's already agreed that, next year, he definitely would make sure that someone, at least one, maybe two people from the Housing Authority get in the Leadership Blend program. But in the meantime, we're gonna be trying to make every connection we can through the chamber, other businesses and other, community partners.
So has any staff already acknowledged that they're interested in going there?
I had a couple, Akeem, that has talked about he would probably like to go, and, one of the guys in the maintenance. And Ms. Deamber, of course, we're trying to get her at that too as well. So we're trying to get, our staff ready to go into that program.
Okay. Now, that's an all-day thing, so y'all gonna have staff to replace them while they're out in training?
Yeah, it's once a month.
I just
one
came
day.
out of it.
Yeah.
But it's all day long somewhere.
Yeah, usually it's all day, and I think, toward the end of that program, they usually go up to Atlanta and spend a weekend, whatever it is up there. I went through it several years ago, but I think it's a lot different than what it was when I went through it. Back in the days.
Okay. And with the city of Brunswick's fire department?
Yes.
Do you have any residents already interested in becoming firefighters or EMT services? And what does that, who is going to develop that program?
I'm gonna be working with, Mr. Tim White, who's now the, interim chief of the, Brunswick Fire Department. And we're working together, and once we get some interest, we've had maybe one or two people that said they were interested, and I haven't had an opportunity yet, because I just got back to get with them, to schedule a date where we can meet. I've already spoke with the, Coastal Pines College. They are willing to help train them as well, so that we can get some individuals, and hopefully get some residents in those programs.
Baker about WorkSource with Ms. Lee. Their whole program is to, give funding to people who are in particular skills and training, and they will give them stipends for childcare and transportation. So that would see if that's something that they can help with while they're in that training. How's Brunswick Job Corps, how is that going, and what's your idea of going forward?
We're just about complete with the MOU with Brunswick Job Corps. We said to them, they asked us about payment for the students. We set up a payment level of $725 for students training, and they asked for 8, so we're negotiating that. I told them that at this particular point in time, we were not able to do 8. The $725 would be the max, and if we looked at 8, it would be like a job performance thing, and with each student that they send us, and we'll let them know. But the way that we got it set up, they will actually invoice us, and then we will pay them, and they will take care of paying the student. We would have to pay each individual student because we didn't want them to be a part of the housing authority payroll.
Right, and so the only department they will be working in is maintenance and landscaping?
Maintenance, landscaping, HVC, which is maintenance, HVC, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, landscaping is one.
And who's gonna be training them?
We will use our staff.
Okay. You said you have identified 7 properties that we might be able to build for new affordable housing.
Right.
Do you have a list of what those properties
No.
are?
That no land talk or acquisition of land talk or building of no executive session only.
For the 7 properties?
Next
List of
question.
them? Okay, that's fine with me. Do you already have 26 residents that have signed up for the NACA program?
Yes.
Okay. And so, remember, marketing, always have that on the website of what they're doing and, how many is going through and what the process.
Yeah. We're actually getting ready to do our first training program for NACA on November the 5th.
Okay.
That's on a Saturday at 10 a.m. It'll be done here in this training room, and then we'll address them and move forward. The biggest thing with the NACA program, and I've been telling all residents, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
You got to work through the progress, work through the process, work through the program, and if they do that, we'll get them to that point. I've connected with Habitat for Humanity. I understand that they have about 12 homes that they've got to build, but they don't have individuals for them. So we're going to try to connect with them and work with them to see if we can somehow merge those programs and make it happen for these folks that are going through the NACA program.
And when these residents go through these type of training, will they receive some type of certification so
Yes.
they can attach with
NACA,
future resume and all those?
NACA will give them a certificate of completion once they complete, and then
How long is the training?
it depends on the individual.
Okay.
If they take their time and they go through it, they could probably be through it in 5 to 6 months. If they kind of most folks do, it could be up to a year or longer. This depends on the individual. So that's why I say, the persons that come into the program have to follow the process. And if they do that, that's a 10-step process. But if you do it, 6 months, you could be completed.
Okay. And Coastal Pines is doing the GED program.
Correct.
WorkSource also does the GED program, so they can have a choice of which one they want to attend through WorkSource or Coastal Pines. And explain to me I think we already did that in the regular meeting about the transportation, the coastal pines.
Yeah, well, the chamber mentioned that they would help us with transportation. So, once we get, a number of individuals, then we'll definitely reach back out to the chamber and say, hey, this is what you said to us, this is what we expect, how can we make this happen? So, we'll make it happen.
Okay, and they're gonna fund it, pay for it?
Yeah, they said they
Okay.
would fund it.
Okay, all right, that's all with that. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
You're welcome.
Ms. Smith? Hello, how you doing? Can we see a copy, maybe next month, of the questionnaires that you're giving out to residents? I'd like to see the results of those questionnaires, how they're answering them, and what is the majority of the issues that they're talking about, or what they wanna see in future housing. Okay, that's all with you, thank you. Is Ms. told me not to ask her, so she didn't come? Okay, Ms. Dryer, how you doing?
Good.
So, we were talking about the, overall score that we received, the 79.
Unaudited, so it's not official.
Say that again?
It's our unaudited score.
Okay, okay.
Still subject to change.
Okay, so so they had 4 indicators: physical condition, capital fund, financial score, and management score. Did each one of those entities have a score of themselves?
Yeah, each AMP has a score for each 4 of the indicators. So, in the management score, which is made up of 3 things: occupancy rate, tenant accounts receivable, and accounts payable. Everybody got the maximum score for accounts payable. Tenant accounts receivable, we got a bonus this year because we weren't allowed to evict anybody, so everybody, all housing authorities got up to 5 bonus points for tenant accounts receivable. So we got points on that this year. Normally we don't. And occupancy rate, AMPs 2 and 3 got the maximum score. AMP 1 got 12 points. So their score, I didn't do a combined score for each one, but out of 25 points, AMP 1 was 21, and then AMPs 2 and 3 were 25. For financial, it's made up of 3 parts, 3 financial ratios. All 3 AMPs got the maximum points in 2 of those indicators, and in one of the indicators, all 3 AMPs got 0 points, and that is, it's a measure of, it's called debt service, and if you stopped receiving money from HUD as of today, how many months could you pay your bills without any additional funding? And just depending on what your answer is, you'll get, I don't even know what the total points are for that, but we got 0. So, but that's with our public housing, but I mean, that's not going to happen anyway, so, but that's what that is. But our financial score overall, AMPs 1 out of 25 points, AMPs 1 and 2 got 23, and AMP 3 got 22. And that's pretty consistent year to year. Capital fund, all 3 AMPs got the 10 total, which is the maximum, because all you have to do is spend the capital funds you're given and report it correctly, and you're good. What hurt us was the physical score. AMP 1's out of 40, AMP 1's was 21, AMP 2 was 22, and AMP 3 was 26. So that's where the 79 comes from. But, once again, these are unaudited numbers, so I just wanted to let you know.
And we'll know about that when they're finally.
When they get
finalized.
finished, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Dryer. Let's see, and the last one, not me, Ms. Rutledge. Did you have a residential meeting in September?
No. I'm not gonna, nope, she's not gonna answer that question. on to your next question, please.
Let's see here. Tell me something about the expanded food and nutrition education program that are we actually partnered with the University of Georgia for the food and nutrition education program?
Yes, it's, what it says, it was an 8-week program, and they did graduate on yesterday with certificates that they can use on a resume, if they should go, attend school. And each week, the staff would come in. We had like 6 residents. We started out with like 7, but we was down to 6. And the lady from University of Georgia, she would come over and she would go over nutrition facts with us, how to read your labels, how to meal prep, how to make sure your food is cooked correctly, and how to eat healthy on a low budget. Then she would always cook. She would always have some sort of recipe that she would cook, and it was fun, and the residents loved it. Each week she would give out an item like a measuring cup or a cutting board, a Georgia bag, something like that.
Is this a one-time thing, or is this going to be a continuing thing?
Well, we would like to continue it because we have some residents that want to attend again, because she'll do new recipes. They won't graduate again, but they can, and they told some of their neighbors, to come over. So I think it's something we can continue to do.
And I emphasize marketing and advertisement because the residents are doing great things. And if we don't know about it, these are the things that we report to our organizations out into the community or to the newspaper. So once again, we need a monthly update on these programs of how they are functioning and what is the rotation of completion of residents and residents coming in. Is there a waiting list on this program right now?
No.
Okay, and we don't pay any funding for it?
No.
Okay, good. You said we've added 7 more participants to our child care program with Ms. Gardner, Little Promise Keepers. Do we have a child care program?
Yes. It's a 2-year scholarship with Little Promise Keepers.
And so I've never seen that. How long has that been going on?
Since our years.
And see, once again, we don't hear about the progress of residents in these programs. They must be shown on the website or flyers put up so other residents can see what is going on in public housing.
Our child care is advertised.
Huh?
Our child care is always advertised.
But, okay, so.
Even in our meetings, it's on our PowerPoint and it's on the paper that I give out about child care.
So you got 7 participants, so what does the program do? Teach them, what is the program?
What I meant by 7 added participants, we added 7 more families that needed child care. And what I also do is, while I'm auditing files, if I notice a young lady is already at Little Promise Keepers and she's paying $100 a week for child care, and I see her phone number, I call her and let her know, and this is mostly with Section 8, we have child care. Let me get your application. I added someone yesterday, as a matter of fact, when I was auditing the file, and I noticed that she was paying $100 in child care. And I told her, we have the child care program. So now she's going to get the right information to me, and then we'll add her.
Now, some of these residents can get child care based on how many hours they work at a job.
20 hours a week.
Right.
Or full-time student. If they're a full-time student, we would pay, even though it's a 2-year scholarship, if a resident is going to school, we will allow them to have child care through their process of going to school and a year afterwards while they're in their work-study program. So we will extend it.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, this was an RFP going back years and years. It's been renewed several times, but we have it's budgeted every year for up to 35 participants at $75 a week that we will pay for. And the reason she's added 7 is because we haven't been we haven't been using the full 35 because we didn't have 35 people in it. But we always budget for that, so she's got 7 more, so that's good. We'll be filling up those slots.
Okay. Kids Nest, wasn't Kids Nest that situation where that teacher?
I don't know if we should discuss that.
I'm not discussing it, it's on this here, and I just wanna know if we are, yes, Kids Nest.
Okay.
If I may, they were, my understanding, and that was, I do believe legal counsel, we sought legal counsel on that as well. They were allowed to apply. They can, it is up to the customer to choose their location.
Okay. Okay, so when did we partner with Kids Nest? Because they didn't
At
come.
the RFP process, they were allowed to apply, and it is up to the customer to choose their location service business.
It was one of the RFPs that were submitted for the fiscal year 23 budget, and it was approved as part of the budget, and so now they have an option of either Little Promise Keepers or Kids Nest. It's up to the resident.
Where they wanna send that check,
Mhm.
okay.
The Kids Nest, if I may say, is the after-school program. It is not the same facility that the incident happened in.
Okay,
It's a different facility. But he will put in for childcare as well, so when our residents will have 2 different areas for childcare.
okay, all right, thank you for that. All right, and, okay, and one last question. You said you scheduled 115 public housing residents for September to their resident responsibility meeting. What is that?
I would ask that you rephrase your question, Madam Vice Chair, or Ms. Rutland, I would advise that she not be allowed to answer it in that particular way.
I mean, what other ways to ask that question? Because she said she scheduled 115 residents for a residents' responsibility meeting. I wanna know what a resident responsibility meeting is, cause we never heard of it, I never heard of it. So-
Please put that particular question, if it's gonna be asked that way, please put it in writing.
Chairman Kidd, she'll get it to me in writing, and I give it to me,
All right.
Yes.
okay?
Well, thank you, staff, thank you, you answered my questions, I have an understanding of what we're doing going forward. So y'all, any future oral presentations have written data to go along with it, then I won't have to do this anymore.
And I would
Okay.
ask that in the future, you submit your questions to the executive director, so that you can have those answers prior to the meeting. I'm just asking.
All right, thank you, staff.
So that
Thank
is
you.
the last of committee reports. We've already handled our legal matters. I will entertain a motion to adjourn our regular meeting, so then we can go into our Gordon Armstrong meeting.
Thanks, Dad.
We have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to adjourn the regular meeting of the Brunswick Housing Authority. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, have the same. The regular meeting is adjourned. We are now moving into our Gordon Armstrong meeting. Armstrong regular meeting here on October 12, 2022 at 12:02 p.m. I'll entertain a motion to accept and adopt the agenda.
Make a motion that we accept and adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to accept and adopt the agenda, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Moving into the agenda. We have no delegations. Old business is none at this point. We have approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on May 11, 2022, and approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on September 14, 2022. Do you want to take those as a whole, or do you want to take those separate?
As a whole,
Then I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meetings held on May 11th and May 14th. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dobson for approval of the minutes of the regularly held meetings for May 11th and September 14, 2022. Do I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Under the Executive Director's items, new business is an update on Whispering Oaks.
Whispering Oaks, of course, we know that the contract has expired. We are, because it's been, tax credit property, we're in the process of seeing, is it called, I believe? Yeah, Cindy, to update her certification for tax credit. Once that's completed, then we'll be able to manage that property ourselves. Right now, they are month to month right now. That's kind of where we are with Whispering Oaks.
And that's just for the management.
Yeah, for
which
the
we will
management piece.
take over management and
Yeah, that's a
able to
great,
facilitate
yeah.
it,
Yeah, that's-
facilitate that property under
right.
Housing Authority.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's a good RAD project for us.
Well, yeah, well, not a RAD,
Right.
it's LIHTC.
Well, I.
Semantics here.
Yeah.
So additionally, of course, we have been in contact and at our, what was that, when we were in Savannah?
Yeah.
That's when we approved, Sepia's Transformation Partners, to begin that process of, taking Whispering Oaks back through the low-income housing tax credit process. And I believe, he should be here about the 14th or 15th, I believe it is, to begin that process of going through the physical inspections, all the paperwork and due diligence that needs to occur on that, and, yeah,
Is that this month?
yes.
The 14th and what, 14th
I
and
think it's the
15th?
14th, I think it's the 14th of this month, which is October.
This month,
Today's
right.
today's the 12th, so yeah, in a few days.
No, I thought it was
Mhm.
next month.
Or is that, will it be next week then? Cause
Next, no, it's just, today is the
12th.
12th.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
is
so
14th.
he's coming. We'll have to double check to see when he's
Yeah.
actually gonna begin that process.
I'm gonna get the email out to the commissioner
Right.
immediately. Try to have an answer for you today, Ms. Commissioner, in that process.
And that will allow us to make necessary repairs, refurbish the units, and through that whole process with minimal cost to the Housing Authority. And with my understanding, with the way it potentially can work out, of course, we will be leveraging our asset, in our favor for these deals, for that particular deal. I would like to, suggest to the board that the gentleman with Sepia Transformation Partners, if time is permitting, that we, ask the gentleman to begin the process of at least taking a look at our current public housing properties, to see where we stand and potentially to begin at least an additional, development with RAD, on one of our properties, other than Whispering Oaks. I don't know what that may be. I would, caution, again, we're looking at that, the Choice Neighborhood NOFO. And again, I would like for that, in my opinion, I think Whispering Oaks, McIntyre Court will be that. We don't know if we'll get that one or not, but we can look at the remainder of our other 5 properties, for some sort of RAD conversion as well. And that way we're literally, you know, how'd you state it, Madam Vice Chair? Making sure that we take care of
Our
our own.
backyard.
Mhm. So that would be Whispering Oaks, potentially McIntyre Court, and potentially a third of our third property, which we'll have to get the numbers on, of redevelopment for not only Brunswick, Gordon Armstrong, but public housing as well. Any further update or discussion on Whispering Oaks? Any reports of committees, commissioners' items, legal matters? Any further discussion at all? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
The motion that we adjourn?
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to adjourn the Brunswick Gordon Armstrong meeting, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. The motion passes unanimously and we are now adjourned. Thank you, Commissioners.